For 8 years now, Jim Browning has been the cyber hero saving a lot of people from being scammed out of their hard-earned money. And if you don't know him yet, you've been missing out on a lot. In March 2020, the Indian authorities raided a scam call centre that was preying on thousands of British victims. Customers from the UK were scammed out of thousands of dollars by Amit Chauhan and his crew of bogus tech scam buddies who claimed to be able to repair their computers. The scam reportedly made $400,000 per month by tricking people into believing they were receiving pop-up warnings from Microsoft that stated there was a virus detected in their computer. The scam starts when a red screen with the Windows logo, a message and a phone number appears on the victim's PC. Unaware Brits would then be instructed to contact the Microsoft number for technical support. When a victim calls the number displayed on the screen, they were then connected to the tech scam call center located in Gurugram. Once connected, the scammers would claim to be Microsoft technical representatives located in San Jose, California.
You're talking to the Windows support right now.
Then the threat is made that the victims will lose all their personal data unless they pay a 4-digit fee to remove the spyware. The hero who exposed the scammers? Jim Browning. In another video uploaded in December 2022, Jim showed how he managed to stop a different group of con artists in New Delhi, India, who were impersonating police enforcement officers to scam individuals in both Europe and India. The scammers informed their unknowing victims that their bank accounts were at risk and that the only way to protect them was to purchase what they call security cards. The script that the scammers used was a modified version of the US Customs and Border script that is used in Austria. Jim went through what he did best and submitted his compiled evidence to the police authorities in Austria. He also asked one of the victims to formally report the matter to the authorities. Austrian authorities then coordinated with their Indian counterparts who raided the call center in September and arrested 2 suspects. The scammers were caught with cryptocurrency worth a total of 13,000 rupees or $160,000. A law enforcement representative from Austria who worked with Jim on the case acknowledged and praised his efforts. Dubbed the virtual vigilante, Jim Browning is the pseudonym used by an independent British cyber activist who, after receiving several robocalls and spam emails, decided it was time to take action. He has a desk job in the world of IT during the day, but at night he transforms into a vigilante who hunts out cyber criminals engaging in fraudulent activities. Initially, Jim never intended to upload videos of his online adventures to YouTube. Speaking in the Easy Prey podcast, he said,
"Really, just by chance, I never really intended to be a YouTuber. I've got a couple of million subscribers on YouTube at this stage, but I never really, that's not my day job at all. I have a proper job in IT, and I certainly never intended to really get into this sort of area at all. The only reason why I did was, like most people, I get lots of these cold calls. Because I'm an engineer at heart, I really thought, is there something I can do about these? Is there some way to report these calls? Exactly, again, I'm probably curious. I want to see how their scam works. I want to know the ins and outs of what they actually do. So I literally one day allowed the phone call to ring. I answered it and I just went with what they were asking me to do, and I recorded it so that really I could warn other people. And naively, I originally thought that, look, if I put this onto, say, YouTube and point their internet service provider to this material, maybe their service provider will throw them off the network, or maybe the police will get involved. But unfortunately, I was very wrong about that. It's very difficult, as it turns out, to actually do something about these people. They're typically in a foreign country, more often than not India. And even if you have very detailed information about these guys who are running the scams, it's very difficult in practice to get anyone to do anything about them.
His turning point was probably in 2018 when a tech support scammer from India called and gave Jim the standard sales pitch before asking him to do something unusual. Log into the scammer's computer using the remote access tool TeamViewer. Jim was guided through the connection process by the caller's voice.
And tell me, just to let me know when you see the TeamViewer page coming on the screen, alright?
Then instructed him to switch sides so they could be in charge and access Jim's computer. But what James did, instead of switching sides, he controlled the scammer's computer and prevented the hacker from accessing his own computer. He now had full access to all of the scammer's data and applications. In addition, he was able to observe the scammer's frantic attempts to regain control. It fascinated Jim. Jim spent the following few months figuring out how to infiltrate the computers of nearly every scammer who attempted to victimize him. Now, his YouTube channel has more than 4 million subscribers and over 200 million views. His most popular one was a video where he called the scammers by their real names, which garnered 44 million views. Along with other famous scam baiters on the internet such as Scammer Payback, Kit Boga, Trilogy Media, Pleasant Green, and IRL Rosie, through the work they do, make the world a safer place from scammers. So how does Jim do it? Jim deliberately allows himself to be scammed and then flips the script on the scammers. He begins by portraying an unsuspecting target. When they try to take control of his computer, Jim hacks into theirs as well as the CCTV cameras. Through this, he discovers where they are from, transfers files, addresses them by their real names, and even sets up images of them as his desktop wallpaper to shock them. He then uploads videos on YouTube of his crime-fighting efforts. Jim appears to have two reasons for doing this: the joy of using his technical expertise to capture a scammer, and the knowledge that his work is making the world a safer place. Although Jim's process is not all publicly known, it is not as easy as you'd think. He admitted in an interview that it's a very time-consuming task. Jim also makes every effort to contact victims before they send money to scammers. Kathleen Langer, an aging grandmother who lives alone in Crossville, Tennessee, received a call from a man who claimed to work in the refund division of her computer manufacturer one afternoon in December 2019. He explained that the contact was made to process a refund. The company apparently owed Langer for selling her an antivirus and anti-hacking security, but was now being discontinued. After gaining access to her computer, the caller instructed Langer to log into her bank to collect the $399 refund that he was about to wire into her account. At some point in their conversation, after insisting Langer go to the bank to process the account problems encountered, she became doubtful. Minutes later, her phone rang. The caller was Jim Browning saying, "The guy who's trying to convince you to sign into your online banking is after one thing alone, and that is he wants to steal your money." However, this is not always possible, and sometimes the things he hears and sees are purely heartbreaking. As Jim said, one of the encounters are painful to listen to. There was a woman who told the scammer she was legally blind and had been diagnosed with a condition that meant she had less than a year to live. He still kept going with the scam. It had no impact on him whatsoever. In another scenario, he tweeted an image with a heartbreaking caption. "It takes a special sort of heartless to pick on an 80-year-old widow who has no savings and attempt to drain her of all her cash." Jim spends months working to uncover scammers. For some, he spends around 6 months watching them before putting out a video. With the information he gathers, he passes it on to the police in hopes of them doing something. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Jim is an ethical hacker, a cyber expert who is able to use his skills to expose serious criminality. And to be clear, what Jim does can be considered illegal, but he stands firmly by what he does and refuses to apologize for it. And why would he? What he is doing is amazing work. This is why he continues to use the alias in order to protect his family and himself from the authorities and criminals. He is aware of the risks and strongly discourages people from attempting to do what he does. And the truth is, Jim is not scared of the legal consequences. Speaking to the New York Post, he said, "If it came down to someone wanting to prosecute me for accessing a scammer's computer illegally, I can demonstrate in every single case that the only reason I gained access is because the scammer was trying to steal money from me." In mid-2021, to everyone's surprise, Jim fell into a scam. Yes, even with his vast experience dealing with scammers, he became a victim. During a phone call, Jim believed he was talking to YouTube creator support, and he was convinced by the scammers to delete his YouTube channel, which already had 3.2 million subscribers. In a Twitter post, he said, "So to prove that anyone can be scammed, I was convinced to delete my YouTube channel because I was convinced I was talking to YouTube creator support. I never lost control of the channel, but the sneaky shit managed to get me to delete the channel. Hope to recover soon." The scammers who preyed on Jim also sent him a note warning that they could easily enter accounts and claiming they had already accessed more than 12 YouTube channels, 2 of which had 3 and 6 million subscribers respectively. According to Jim, the scammers don't actually know him, and they were just after the money. He sent links for them to click on and figured out the scammers were based in Turkey, and when they realized they weren't getting any money from Jim, the scammers disappeared. Thankfully, after 4 days, his channel was reinstated by YouTube. Following the incident, he uploaded a video explaining how the scammers tricked him into deleting his channel.
This is an early version of a video which I'm just about to release, which describes what happened to my YouTube channel at the end of July 2021.
Jim's work does not stop with his own channel. He was able to work with other scam baiting YouTubers with the aim of helping people to stop falling for scams. Scammer Payback's project, an anti-scam call center, was made possible with the help of Jim Browning and other ethical hackers. The anti-scam call center was established in Columbus, Ohio. Every system in the building is a virtual trap with special tools to lure the scammers in. They also have the capacity to listen in on and stop live scams while they are happening. In a video he uploaded, Jim discussed the particular scam company they went after and explained how scammers create robocalls and how these calls are forwarded from India to potential victims in other countries. He also collaborated with Mark Rober, an ex-NASA engineer who is famous for his glitter bomb videos on YouTube. In one video he did with Mark Rober and Scammer Payback, they managed to uncover audio files showing scammers that are involved in multiple types of scams, saying they are from Amazon and Microsoft. The operation ended well with the help of a $10,000 bait and a glitter bomb. The police even came to the location of the scammer to question the money mule. In another video, Jim and Mark pranked the scammers in the telephone scam capital of the world, Kolkata. Although it was a fun video to watch with the scammers getting freaked out, it shows the huge problem behind these scam activities. In December 2022, Jim, along with Mark Rober and Trilogy Media, won the Streamies collaboration for their glitter bomb payback video. Jim's overall history of work had such a significant impact that it led to a BBC documentary called Scam Interceptors. He, along with other ethical hackers, infiltrate the scammers' network and keep tabs on their activity using the same remote access technologies that the scammers use to deceive their victims. For Jim, this is a good way to get the message through to the right people. I've been working with the BBC, and there's an organisation called the American Association of Retired People. For me, it's never good enough to say do this, don't do this. I think you actually have to see the scams running, and this program shows it in intricate detail. You can see and hear the language that they use, the techniques they use, what people typically say, and how the scammers respond. When you see it firsthand, it's far more likely to sink in. The scams themselves will change over time, but if something triggers in the back of your head, at least gives you a bit of doubt, it can only be a good thing. For the future of his channel, Jim says he enjoys what he's doing and plans to continue fighting and getting revenge on these scammers. What are your thoughts about the amazing work Jim is doing? Thanks for watching. I'm James. I create short documentary videos every week. Please like and subscribe for future videos. Thanks again, and see you on the next one.